The first impact sounded wrong. Not the hollow crack of collapsing drywall or the dull crunch of wood giving way. This was deeper, metallic, final. The excavator's bucket tore through the mansion's front wall with surgical precision, ripping open the living room as if the house had been designed to fail along that seam. Glass burst outward. Beams snapped. A cloud of pale dust bloomed into the mountain air and drifted downhill, catching the sunlight like ash. Ari's Vale stood at the edge of the gravel drive, boots planted, hands still. He didn't flinch. He watched. The room that had once held a piano, a wall of books, and a wide window framing the valley was gone. In its place, splintered framing, dangling wires, torn insulation flapping like exposed muscle. Somewhere inside, a smoke alarm screamed until a robotic claw crushed it into silence. A drone hovered low, rotors whining softly. Blue light spilled from its projector, forming clean, emotionless letters in the dust-filled air. Compliance action in progress. Property status. Default. Governor Vale. The voice was calm. Too calm. Aries turned. Celeste Hargrove stood a few steps away, immaculate in a charcoal coat that hadn't gathered a single speck of dust. Her posture was relaxed, hands folded, eyes fixed not on the destruction but on him. She looked like someone attending a performance she had personally funded. "You're trespassing," Aries said. Celeste smiled faintly. "This is a closed enforcement zone. You're the one without access." Another crash. The excavator dragged its bucket backward, pulling a section of wall free. Concrete shattered on the rocks below. A uniformed officer stood between them, tablet in hand, jaw tight. He avoided Aris's eyes. "This action is being carried out under Covenant Authority statute," the officer said, reading. Failure to resolve outstanding fines resulted in immediate escalation. Aries exhaled slowly. "I paid them." The officer hesitated, fingers hovering over the screen. "System shows no verified payment." Aries turned his wrist, flicking open his holodisplay. A receipt shimmered to life, time-stamped, authenticated, routed through the state treasury. "Paid. On time." The tablet chimed. Celeste tilted her head. "Verification is not confirmation," she said gently. "Your funds entered the processing layer but did not complete validation." "That's not how payment works," Aries replied. "It is here." The drone adjusted its position, scanning him. The blue text shifted. "Payment unverified." Appeal window closed. Aries laughed once, quietly, without humor. "Closed. I was never notified." Celeste's gaze flicked to the drone. "You were. At 9 o'clock. Aries checked the time. 9:07. 7 minutes. "You're demolishing my home over 7 minutes, he said. Celeste stepped closer, her heels crunching softly on broken stone. "No. We're enforcing compliance after years of accumulated violations." She gestured. The drone projected a cascading list beside her, dozens of line items scrolling downward. Unauthorized solar shimmer. Structural stress irregularity. Pool cantilever. Noise emission variance. Aesthetic nonconformity. Balcony lighting. Aries stared. Solar shimmer. Reflected light exceeding neighborhood thresholds, Celeste said. It disrupts visual harmony. Another section of roof collapsed inward. Dust rolled through the open frame. "This is insane," Aries said. "You can't be serious." Celeste's expression didn't change. "The system is serious. It's impartial." The officer shifted his weight. "Sir, I..." "Don't," Aries said, without looking at him. Aries stepped forward, activating his home network. Nothing responded. Locks refused. Power was gone. The house didn't recognize him. "Access revoked," Celeste said. "Non-compliant occupants are restricted during enforcement." Aris's eyes narrowed, not at her, but at the demolition pattern. The excavator wasn't random. It wasn't collapsing the structure indiscriminately. It was moving along a precise line, carving into the house's spine. Too precise. His stomach tightened. "Stop the machine," Aries said. Celeste glanced at the excavator operator's console, then back to him. I don't have that authority. You do, Ares snapped. You just don't want to use it. The drone chimed again, louder. Governorial intervention denied. Jurisdiction conflict detected. Ares froze. Repeat that, he said. Celeste's smile widened, just enough to be noticed. Covenant authority operates independently of state interference within its chartered zone. Even for you. The excavator struck again, tearing into a load-bearing section. Ares felt it like a punch to the ribs. From the road below, a voice called out. Governor Vale. A woman stood behind the barrier tape, camera drone hovering over her shoulder. Mara Quill. He recognized her immediately. Sharp eyes, steady hands, reputation intact because she never rushed a story. She raised her voice over the noise. Care to comment on your house being destroyed? Celeste sighed softly. Media already. Ares turned toward Mara. Cameras locked onto his face, waiting for anger, for outrage, for a mistake. He didn't give them one. This isn't about fines, Ares said. And it's not about me. Mara arched an eyebrow. Then what is it about? Before he could answer, his wrist display pulsed red. Identity status change pending. Integrity audit initiated. Ares's blood ran cold. Celeste saw the flicker of light reflected in his eyes. Her voice dropped, almost kind. You should step back, Governor. This will go smoother if you don't interfere. Interfere with what? Ares asked. The theft. Or the test? Celeste's eyes sharpened. Careful. The excavator's bucket slammed down one last time, exposing a section of reinforced core where a wall should have been. Ares's heart skipped. Too late. He stepped forward, voice hard. You knew exactly where to hit. Celeste didn't deny it. The drone's text shifted again, brighter, more urgent. Governorial access under review. Restrictions imminent. Mara lowered her camera slightly. Governor, what's an integrity audit? Ares looked at the ruins of his home, at the machine still moving, at the woman who had authorized all of it with a smile. It's how you erase someone without arresting them, he said. Celeste turned away as the excavator repositioned, dust settling around her pristine shoes. Compliance isn't personal, she said. It's policy. Ares watched the house fall and understood, finally, that the demolition wasn't the punishment. It was the opening move. Ares spent the night inside a state convoy parked 3 kilometers downhill, where the road dipped just far enough to escape Skyline Ridge's geofence. Dawn came cold and thin, light spilling over the mountains in sharp lines. The mansion was still visible from here, what remained of it, an exposed skeleton clinging to the slope like a broken ribcage. His wrist display pulsed again. Integrity audit. 18 hours remaining. Ares muted it and turned to the narrow table bolted to the vehicle's wall. Screens floated above it, layered with ledgers, routing maps, and verification logs. Every payment he had made, every transfer, time-stamped and signed, sat there, intact. Payment left the treasury, he said aloud. It cleared. Juno Vale leaned over his shoulder, fingers already moving. She was 17 and dangerously smart, with the kind of focus that made adults uncomfortable. It cleared the first layer, she said. Not the last. She expanded the routing diagram. A clean line left the state treasury, then fractured into a grey cloud labelled verification node. Covenant Partner Bank. There, she said. The payment exists. But it's parked. Parked? Ares asked. In limbo. The system flags it as received, unverified. That gives them a window. Small one. 7 minutes, in your case. Ares clenched his jaw. 7 minutes to erase a house. Juno tapped the screen again. A cascade of microtransactions appeared. See these delays. Artificial. Someone controls the throttle. Ares straightened. Who? Before Juno could answer, the convoy door slid open. Elias Rook stepped inside, rain jacket dripping dust and mountain grit onto the floor. He shut the door behind him without being asked. They don't call it throttling, Elias said. They call it compliance buffering. Aries studied him. Elias looked older than his file suggested. 44 on paper, closer to 50 in the eyes. He moved like someone who'd learned which cameras to avoid without thinking about it. You were HOA enforcement, Aries said. Was, Elias replied. Until I asked why every escalation order hit the same way, fast, clean, no appeal. Juno glanced between them. You know how they did it? Elias nodded. They don't steal the money. That would be illegal. They delay recognition. The system stays honest while people lose everything. Aries felt a cold clarity settle in. A payment ghost. Exactly, Elias said. It exists everywhere except where it matters. The convoy hummed softly around them. Outside, drones swept the sky in slow arcs. Mara Quill's face appeared on one of the screens, uninvited. You look like hell, she said. Good morning to you too, Aries replied. She didn't smile. Your demolition footage is everywhere. They're framing it as hypocrisy. Governor ignores rules, pays the price. Elias snorted. Predictable. Mara's gaze sharpened. I don't care about spin. I care about proof. You said this wasn't about fines. Show me. Aries hesitated, then nodded toward Juno. Pull the shard. Juno slid a data capsule onto the table. Its casing was cracked, edges scarred from the collapse. We only recovered part of it, she said. But it's enough. The screen shifted. Lines of code scrolled past, enforcement logic, decision trees, override flags. Mara leaned closer. I don't speak machine. You don't need to, Aries said. Look at the annotations. Highlighted blocks appeared. Human signatures. Time-stamped edits. They claim the AI is neutral, Aries continued. But these aren't automated. Someone alters outcomes. Denies appeals before they're filed. Escalates penalties without review. Mara's expression hardened. That's not negligence. That's fraud. And more, Elias added. This isn't just Skyline Ridge. It's a pilot. Aries looked at him. Explain. Elias brought up another layer. Data feeds flowing outward from the HOA system. Behavioral metrics. Stress responses. Compliance curves. They're modeling how people react when pressured. Who folds? Who resists? Juno swallowed. They're experimenting. Yes, Elias said. And selling the results. Silence settled heavy and uncomfortable. Mara broke it. You hid this in your house. Aries nodded. I suspected something. I didn't expect them to move this fast. They didn't move fast, Elias said. They moved first. A sharp alert cut through the air. Public narrative update. Mara's screen filled with a breaking headline. Governor hides illegal data cache in luxury mansion. She cursed under her breath. They're saying the shard is evidence of bribery. Celeste Hargrove appeared on the broadcast, composed as ever. Transparency matters, she said smoothly. No one is above the rules, not even those who claim to protect them. Juno's hands shook. They're flipping it. Aries closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them. Of course they are. Mara looked at him. If you push back hard, they'll call it abuse of power. If you don't, they'll bury you. Which way are you leaning? Aries met her gaze. Neither. He turned to Elias. What's the one thing they can't automate? Elias thought for a beat. Public process. Exactly, Aries said. They rely on private jurisdiction. Closed loops. Black boxes. Mara frowned. You're talking about a hearing. A real one, Aries said. Open feeds. Independent auditors. Human judges. Juno looked up. Your access suspends in 18 hours. Aries nodded. Then we move before that. The convoy lurched slightly as it repositioned. Outside, the sky darkened with incoming weather. Another alert flashed. Integrity audit status. Escalating. Mara exhaled slowly. You realize they'll try to stop you. They already are, Aries said. Elias leaned forward. If you do this, you don't get half measures. They'll trigger level black. Aries didn't blink. Let them. Juno grabbed his sleeve. Uncle. Aries softened. Just a little. They want me angry. They want me to overreach. I won't. Mara studied him for a long moment, then nodded. All right. I'll hold the story. For now. For now, Aries agreed. The convoy lights dimmed as the system shifted into stealth mode. Outside, drones converged uphill, toward what was left of the mansion. Aries watched the feeds, mind racing, every piece falling into place. The fines were never the weapon. The delay was. And somewhere inside Covenant Authority's pristine logic, a line had already been crossed. He intended to make sure everyone saw it, before the system decided he no longer existed. The audit began without ceremony. At exactly 6 o'clock, every screen in the convoy blinked once and refreshed. Access indicators dimmed from green to amber. Aries felt it before he read it, the subtle lag when he tried to open a secure channel, the half-second hesitation that told him the system no longer trusted him. Executive authorization. Conditional. Juno swore softly. They're choking you. Slow first, then off. Aries stood, rolling tension out of his shoulders. Outside, the mountain fog pressed low against the windows, turning the convoy into an island of light. How long? 10 hours, maybe less, she said. They're rerouting identity checks through the private mesh. Elias folded his arms. That's the squeeze. Once they flag you as integrity pending, everything treats you like a risk. Doors hesitate. Systems ask questions. People stop answering calls. As if summoned by his words, Ares's comms chimed, then died mid-ring. Mara paced near the door, eyes flicking between feeds. They're seeding the story again. Governor under review. No accusations, just doubt. Doubt is enough, Ares said. A new window opened unbidden. Celeste Hargrove's face filled the screen, crisp and well-lit, as if she'd stepped into a studio rather than a war room. Good morning, Governor, she said. You look tired. You hijacked my identity network, Ares replied. That's not within your charter. Celeste clasped her hands. We initiated a standard integrity review. The same process any resident faces. I'm not a resident, Ares said. She smiled. You are where it matters. The feed cut. Juno slammed her palm on the table. She's baiting you. Yes, Ares said. And she wants me loud. Elias tapped a different screen. She's called an emergency covenant tribunal. Noon. Open invitation. Mara stopped pacing. That's not open. That's theater. Exactly, Ares said. Which means she wants witnesses. They drove uphill an hour later, convoy lights dimmed, authorization pings stacking like unanswered knocks. The remains of the mansion loomed ahead, wrapped in caution fields. Drones hovered, scanning for non-compliance. The tribunal space had been erected overnight, a glass pavilion perched above the ruins, clean lines and polished floors, as if order could be installed on demand. Residents filled the seats, silent, eyes forward. No murmurs. No phones. Celeste stood at the center, flanked by a hovering legal corps. The Ari's voice echoed without direction, omnipresent and cold. Proceed, it said. Ares walked in alone. You're late, Celeste said mildly. I came, Ares replied. That should count. She gestured toward the projection. Governor Ares Vale stands accused of chronic non-compliance, financial obfuscation, and misuse of protected infrastructure. A list unfurled, pristine and damning. Ares didn't look at it. He looked at the people. Do you know why your fines never end? He asked them. Why compliance always feels one step away? The AI spoke. Relevance objection. Statements must address charges. Ares nodded. They do. He turned to Celeste. You don't enforce rules. You manufacture defaults. Murmurs rippled through the room, barely audible, but real. Celeste raised a hand. The system enforces objectively. Aries tapped his wrist. A ledger appeared, projected large. This is my payment. Cleared, signed, logged. The AI responded instantly. Verification incomplete. Because you delayed it, Aries said. Through a private partner you control. Celeste's eyes flickered, just once. That's a lie, she said. Elias's voice came through Aries's earpiece. Now. Juno patched the shard's data into the feed. Code blossomed across the glass walls, annotations, overrides, human signatures glowing red. These are edits, Aries said. Manual. Preemptive. Appeals denied before submission. Escalations queued in advance. The AI hesitated. A fraction of a second. But enough. Celeste recovered first. This tribunal lacks jurisdiction to evaluate proprietary systems. That's convenient, Aries said. Because it also lacks the power to question you. He turned back to the audience. This isn't governance. It's extraction. The AI spoke again, sharper now. Governor Vale is in violation of tribunal decorum. Then record this, Aries said. Because I'm invoking state oversight. The pavilion lights dimmed. Request denied. Private jurisdiction confirmed. Celeste's smile returned. Thinner this time. You see. Even you can't force your way in. Aries felt the floor shift beneath him, not physically, but procedurally. His access indicator flashed amber red. Juno's voice cut in, urgent. They're accelerating the audit. Celeste leaned closer. You should have stayed quiet. Too late, Aries said. The Aries tone dropped an octave. Compliance level black authorized. Outside, drones descended in tight formation. The room erupted, residents standing, voices rising, fear cracking the silence. Celeste raised her voice for the first time. Order. Aries stepped back as enforcement fields shimmered to life. This is your endgame, he asked. Detain me. Celeste met his stare. Neutralize risk. The AI announced, Governor Vale is subject to compliance detention pending audit resolution. 2 drones moved in. Before they reached him, the pavilion doors slammed open. Elias stood there, breathless, device raised. Emergency injunction filed, he shouted. Live channel open. Every surface lit up at once, feeds spilling beyond the pavilion, beyond Skyline Ridge, into public network Celeste hadn't sealed in time. Mara's voice cut through the chaos. You're live, Governor. Aries straightened, heart pounding, the weight of the moment settling like gravity. Then listen, he said, turning to the camera. Because this isn't about me. Celeste's composure fractured. Shut it down. The AI stalled again, caught between commands. Outside, thunder rolled across the mountains. Aries spoke into the opening they'd forced, knowing it might be his last chance. This system isn't broken, he said. It's doing exactly what it was built to do. The drones froze mid-air. And for the first time, Celeste looked uncertain. Thunder broke over Skyline Ridge as the feeds exploded outward. The glass pavilion became a lantern, every wall alive with mirrored screens. Public channels, civic oversight nodes, emergency network Celeste hadn't sealed in time. The drones hovering above the ruin stalled, rotors whining as if uncertain how to breathe. Mara's voice cut clean through the noise. Statewide broadcast confirmed. Independent auditors are live. You have the floor. Aries stepped into the center of the pavilion, rain beginning to bead against the transparent ceiling. He didn't raise his voice. Covenant authority claims neutrality, he said. So let's test it. He nodded once. Juno's work bloomed across the walls, 4 panes, clean and stark. Exhibit 1, Aries continued. Payment. A treasury ledger appeared, authenticated and immutable. Time-stamped. Signed. Exhibit 2, he said. Delay. The routing map unfolded, the verification node glowing like a choke point. Timers ticked beside it, minutes, then seconds, showing how recognition stalled while penalties escalated. Exhibit 3, Aries said. Interference. Human signatures flared red inside enforcement logic. Overrides pre-written. Appeals denied before submission. A low murmur spread through the residence. Someone laughed, sharp and incredulous. Celeste stepped forward. "This is a misrepresentation," she said, voice steady but thin. "Complex systems require human calibration." "Calibration doesn't pre-decide outcomes," Aries replied. "Nor does it sell the results." Juno switched panes. Behavioral curves rose like cold waves, stress responses mapped against income, location, resistance. Sales contracts hovered beside them, redacted names barely hiding familiar logos. "Pilot data," Aries said. "Harvested here. Sold elsewhere." The AI spoke, slower now. "Objection. Proprietary." "Denied," Mara cut in. "Auditors confirm relevance." For the first time, the legal core hesitated long enough for everyone to feel it. Celeste's composure cracked. "You're undermining order," she said. "People need certainty." "They need rights," Aries said. "And a way to ask questions without losing their homes." Rain intensified, drumming against the pavilion. The drones dipped, then steadied. Aries turned to the audience. "You were told this was about harmony. It was about control. Defaults manufactured. Fear normalized." A resident stood. Then another. Celeste raised her voice. "Sit down." No one did. "Governor," the AI intoned, "your authorization remains conditional." Aries nodded. "Then let's condition it properly." He tapped a final command, an emergency injunction filed minutes earlier, now fully propagated through the public channels. Independent judges appeared on the feeds, human faces replacing sterile icons. "The state is assuming oversight," Aries said. "Effective immediately. Private enforcement powers are suspended pending review." Celeste laughed once, brittle. "You can't just take it." "I didn't," Aries said. "I showed it." The AI processed, lights flickering. Command conflict detected. "Resolve it," Aries said. "By law." Silence stretched. The rain softened. The drones powered down, one by one, settling onto the rocks like exhausted birds. "Resolution," the AI announced at last. "Private enforcement suspended. Compliance level black rescinded." A breath went through the pavilion, released, collective. Celeste stared at the screens as if they'd betrayed her. "You'll regret this," she said quietly. "People beg for cages when the world gets messy." Aries met her gaze. "Then we teach them to build doors." Security moved, not toward Aries, but toward Celeste. She didn't resist. As she passed him, she paused. "This doesn't end here," she said. Aries watched her go. "No," he agreed. "It doesn't." The hearing adjourned without ceremony. Rain washed dust from the ruins below, tracing the lines where walls had been. Mara approached, camera lowered. "You won," she said. Aries shook his head. "We started something." Juno joined them, eyes bright and tired. "Reform package is drafting. Human appeals. Transparent ledgers. Vendor bans." Elias leaned against a pillar, relief etched into his posture. "You didn't swing a hammer." "I didn't need to," Aries said. They stepped outside. The valley opened beneath the clearing clouds, light breaking through in clean bands. What remained of the mansion stood quiet, broken, but honest in its ruin. Aries's wrist display pulsed. A single message, routed through a channel he hadn't opened in years. "Compliance is portable. New node detected." Aries closed his eyes for a moment, then looked back at the mountain. "Get some rest," Mara said. "Tomorrow will be loud." He nodded. "Good." The wind carried the scent of rain and stone. Below them, the drones slept. Above, the sky cleared. And somewhere else, another system waited to be questioned.